clear that President Trump values loyalty a lot. A source tells CNN James Comey's refusal to declare that loyalty to the president is part of the reason he was fired. Did President Trump demand personal loyalty over loyalty to the nation? Let's discuss. CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers is here, and former political director for President George W. Bush, Matt Schlapp, joins us. Gentlemen, thank you for being here this Friday morning. And Matt, let me begin with you.
Sure.
Multiple threads of reporting on this. Our own Jake Tapper reporting first that one of the reasons that Comey was fired is because he would not promise that loyalty to the president. And the New York Times this morning reporting that at that dinner on January 27th at the White House between the president and then FBI Director James Comey, the president said, "Will you be loyal? Will you make a pledge of loyalty?" Comey demurred and said, "No, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you, Mr. President." Do you believe that this is a president who has put loyalty above all else and that it is part of what cost the FBI director his job?
Two answers. I think loyalty is important to this president. I actually think it's important to all presidents. I was involved in the personnel process for President George W. Bush, and we asked every single political appointee about their opinions of the president and if they could buy into his agenda and be loyal to that agenda. Second of all, I think it's very important to know that there was a dinner that President Trump disclosed between him and Jim Comey. There are now all these articles about pushing back on what the president said in his interview with NBC. And who could that source be, Poppy? If there's two people having a dinner and someone is pushing back on the narrative and saying, well, here's what the president demanded, it has to be Jim Comey. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of Republicans and Democrats have become frustrated with Jim Comey over the years, is he is a political animal. And he plays this game, and he is clearly trying to push back to win the news cycle.
Matt, the West Wing leaks plenty. The West Wing leaks plenty, especially
so does
people
Jim
close.
Comey.
Okay, but I'm saying don't say Comey. You know, who knows?
Well, who
where
was
this
at
is
the dinner,
coming from.
Poppy? Who was at the dinner? It was
hey,
two
I
people.
wish I was at the dinner, okay?
Me too.
Bakari, let me get to you because, seriously, on the issue of honesty and the president's base, look at these numbers from this new Quinnipiac poll. Not only has the president's, the trust level people have in the president that he's honest fallen 9 points since November, you also have a pretty significant drop-off there in credibility for the president. We have a second slide, I think, to show you, among his base. Whether they think he's honest. 44% of non-college educated voters say that the president is honest today, 44% versus 56% in November. What will this week mean, Bakari, to the president and his ability to hold on to the trust of his base?
Well, first and foremost, Poppy, this president went into the White House with a trust deficit with more than half of America. And I haven't seen a White House in all of my years erode the remainder of that trust so quickly. Whether or not it's Kellyanne Conway or whether or not it's Sarah Huckabee Sanders or whether or not it's Spicer, their affinity for the truth is, shall I say, distant. And when you look at this interview that the president gave yesterday, I remember Matt Schlapp and many other Republicans, when you had Bill Clinton meeting on the tarmac with Loretta Lynch, they were practically clutching their pearls. They couldn't believe what was happening. And now you have a president sitting down with Lester Holt, sitting there saying simply at this dinner, this isn't a leak, this is what the president said, that I asked about the investigation into me and my associates. And there's no pearl clutching there. There's no irate behavior there. The question is, who leaked what? Well, people and Americans throughout the country, whether or not you're Democrat or Republican, flyover country or big cities, are beginning to see that this president, one, he's a liar, and two, he cannot be trusted. And I think it's his own words. It's no one else. It's his own words that's doing that's creating this downfall. Matt,
let me get your take on some of his own words
Sure.
In this interview. When the president said to Lester Holt, when he was asked about Russian interference in the election, he said, if there was hacking. He questioned the finding of all 17 U.S. intelligence agencies. He then questioned whether we have 17 intelligence agencies, which we do. But then also yesterday, he signed in the middle of the day this executive order starting an entire commission to look into voter fraud, a claim, an unsubstantiated claim he's made. There have been millions of people who voted, fraudulently voted in this election. Is this the president putting more trust in what some would point to as conspiracy theories or unsubstantiated claims than he is the finding, Matt, of 17 intelligence agencies?
That's a lot you've thrown at me there. I'm going to try to keep track of this first. On the question of the FBI investigation, it's very important for everyone to understand that the person now running the FBI has said there's been 0 attempts by Trump or the Trump administration to affect their investigation. That is what the FBI is saying. Whether or not James Comey runs the FBI, there will be a continued investigation on what Russia did with our elections. And I think we all want to know what those answers are, whether it's good for President Trump or bad for President Trump. When it comes to the question of setting up this commission, it's a bipartisan commission, which I think is the right way to handle this issue. And I think that there are examples of voter fraud.
Not millions. Not millions. What I'm saying is he's
Poppy,
giving more credence.
Can you let me answer?
Sure, but I'm saying he seems to be giving more. My question was, is he giving more credence to an unsubstantiated claim than he is to the findings of 17 intelligence agencies?
Okay, so I don't know which one you want me to go. I can go to the election one and talk about that, which is this is an issue within our politics. I think we should all be against illegal voting. We have a question about when this illegal voting happens. We have convictions on the books. This commission intends to take voting officials, which is, by the way, voting is basically a state function, to work with them to make sure that we have less voter fraud. When it comes to the question about Russia's hacking in our election, look, nobody has found one example of when there's been any interaction, any law breaking by the Trump campaign. I'd love to hear what that law breaking is, because there's no example. How about a Russian official name that they dealt with? This is an investigation in search of a crime, and it's time for the American people to just simply get the facts from the FBI.
All right, not an answer to my question, but we're out of time. You'll both be back.
Well, that was a pretty big question.
Well,